Hey, Jason here from New Oceans Digital. So I just want to give you a quick example of what you can expect in the conversion growth audit. So this video is going to be about 10 minutes long, and you're also going to get a PDF report, a detailed PDF report that goes along with it as well. And the reason I say detailed is because there'll be a lot more information in the PDF than actually what I cover in the videos. So the different categories that you'll see in the actual PDF will be user experience, conversion optimization, content and copy, thank you page optimization, performance and security, legal, and tracking and reporting. So you can see those here on the right side of the screen. Now, one of the questions I always get is, what page would be best, for these audits. Now, I always say if you're spending money sending paid traffic to a landing page, that landing page is definitely going to be the best thing. So that could be a sign up page, a product page, a category page, whatever it is. That's the page that we definitely should be focusing on. All right, so let's kind of start to dive into the example. So I'm actually going to be using Avid for Adventure in this example here. So essentially what they provide are overnight summer camps for kids in Oregon, California, and Colorado. And the reason I chose them is because they're actually running an ad today that ends today. It's a flash sale for one of their Oregon expeditions. So we're going to dive into them and kind of go through some examples. Now, because the videos are only 10 minutes, I'm going to focus on on the top 6 conversion factors. And you'll see those here as I pull them up on the right side of the screen. Now, as I mentioned, there's a lot more detail that I've actually gone through and done this audit. I did this audit right before I jumped on this call with you. So we'll just kind of take a look at a few of these points and just to kind of give you a high-level overview of what you can expect on these audits. So I think this is going to be really great for you. All right, so number one, first and foremost, is a clear value proposition. So your value proposition is definitely the biggest contributing factor to having a great website, a great performing website, and really, really high conversions. So one of the questions that I posed here is that, does this landing page have a clear value proposition or a reason to buy? So you can also think about your value proposition as a reason to buy. Now, you're going to want that value proposition here, really front and center in this first section, which is called the hero section of the page. And they don't have that today. There's really no value that they're really showing here at all. If somebody were to, send their kids away to one of these camps. Now, I do also provide some additional details in the PDF, a link that goes to an article about how you can build a really killer value proposition in only 4 simple steps. And that formula includes a headline, a subheadline, social proof, and then an image that really kind of backs up, what it is that we're saying in that headline and subheadline. So there'll be more information there, but this is definitely going to be the biggest thing for Avid Adventures to really work on is to craft a value proposition for this section here, front and center. All right, so let's now move on to number 2, which is going to be improving relevance. Now, some of the questions that we'll ask here are the images on the page relevant to the page content? So this is one thing that I think Avid for Adventures doing a really great job on. A lot of companies will use stock photos and imagery that just doesn't feel right. It just kind of feels off and it feels a little fake, really, to be honest. But they've done a really great job of using, photos and videos, which is excellent, of, actual kids at their camp. So, kudos to them on really nailing that point there. And then the second thing, when it comes to relevance, this other question that you can see here. So if the user came from an ad, which they did, they came from a Facebook ad, they recognize that it's a continuation of their journey. So as they go back over here to the ad, it talks about, flash sale, use this code from April 6th to April 8th. Now, when I click that learn more button, this is that page that I actually land on. So do you see any mention of a flash sale? Anything going on? No, you don't. And that is a really, really big thing with relevance, you want to make sure, and it's what we call message match. So you want to make sure that there's a message match between the ad copy and the landing page copy, and it needs to be immediate. It needs to happen right away whenever they land on the page. So if we're talking about a flash sale, like there needs to be a banner or some type of content that's really calling that out and say, hey, there's a flash sale from April 6th to April 8th, sign up now, save $500 or whatever whatever that savings may be. But that is really, really critical when it comes to ads. And unfortunately, this is something that a lot of companies and brands really miss on, is this piece of making sure there's that message match between the ad and the landing page that they come to after they click that ad. So really, really big opportunity for them to improve that there. And even when this flash sale ends, other things. Unplug the summer as an example. There's, if they weren't running the sale, there's no mention of, sorry, that's the wrong page, but there's no mention of anything like that, like unplug the summer. No, they don't even talk about that at all. So that's just another example. So even if you aren't running specials or things of that nature, you still need to make sure that you have message match, so you can improve your relevance. All right, now let's move on to number 3, which is improve clarity. All right, so a couple questions that we ask here. So is the text easy to read? So I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom, and this is actually where they actually would choose the actual camps. Excuse me. So you can see here, Expedition Backpacking, Expedition Multi-Sport. So this is a little hard to read. It's, white text on a photo background. Some of it is kind of like this kind of gravel color, grass color. So that becomes a little bit hard to read, and it's something that could be, easily looked over. So definitely I would recommend moving this down into this white section right above the location. Make it a big black, kind of font color that, that's really going to stand out, to improve the clarity and the readability there. And then the next point here is the text easy to comprehend. So these headlines here, so Find Your Adventure. So I know a lot of, outdoor brands like to use Find Your Adventure because it sounds kind of cool, but it's more of a tagline. So instead of saying Find Your Adventure, I would recommend changing that to, Choose Your Camp or Find Your Camp, because actually that's actually what they're doing. They're actually, trying to find the right camp for their kid based on, what type it is or what grade that they're in. And then also just to kind of reiterate that point a little bit more. So they say see camps, which, basically kind of pulls the user down to this section, but then it says Find Your Adventure. So that can be, a little confusing as well. So if they just at the very least change that word adventure to camp, that would help improve the clarity for this section here as well. All right, so moving on to number 4, which is create urgency. So one question that I like to ask here is there an indication on the page that an action should be taken now? Now, I'm actually going to click over to this. If I were to click this expedition page, that's where I'm going to go to right now. But let's see here. So just as an example, they've actually done a good, I just saw it right here. So they say view available camps. So that's actually really great. I didn't see that earlier whenever I was going through this. But that was actually the recommendation that I was going to make, is to say view available camps, because that starts to introduce a little bit of scarcity and also urgency as well, because there's only limited availability, which is definitely the case. But we can see here, and this is kind of a separate issue, is that these different calls to action have different wording. Now you always want your primary CTA to be, your primary call to action button to be consistent using the same words. So, they should also update this to say view available camps as well. And, taking a look here, I will say, this register now button is really great. They did a really great job here because, just adding that word now, increases, creates some of that urgency to get people to take action now and not wait till, tomorrow, next week, or next month, really wanting to create urgency today. And then another thing here, another question that I like to ask is that, are you advertising any special offers? So as I previously mentioned, they do have a special offer. They do have that flash sale right now, but it's just not being communicated on the page. So that would obviously be a way to increase their conversions and get more people to register their kids now. All right, so moving on to number 5, reduce anxiety. So one of the questions here, is there anything on this page that could be causing anxiety for your visitors? So reducing anxiety goes hand in hand with, increasing the level of trust that a visitor would have with you as they look at your page. And one way that you could increase that trust is by, adding labels. So these could be, for example, safety certifications or any types of certifications that they may have. I know they also recently became B Corp certified, which I think is amazing. And probably a lot of the parents would also be would be familiar with B Corps or maybe even work at a B Corp, and that's something that that really resonates with people that are familiar with the B Corp brand. But I think adding those safety certifications would also be really great as well, because they do have a section right here. Here we go. So we take safety seriously. So maybe rather than having this block of text, which is likely getting just not read at all or just skimmed over, they could add some iconography, that would say maybe he has CPR certified or wilderness first aid certified, something like that would be a great way to reduce anxiety and increase trust as well. And then another option would be to also include testimonials. So they don't have any testimonials at all, at least that I've seen on these couple pages. Now, they've been around for a number of years. They probably had thousands and thousands of kids and families come through, every summer. So, yeah, there's definitely a good opportunity to add some testimonials here on the page. And they do a really great job with their videos. So if they could actually get a video testimonial, that would even be much better as well. And then the last point that I'll touch on here is, does your visitor have all the information they need to take an action? So I think they've done a pretty good job of kind of covering the really high level points, but there's an opportunity to add a frequently asked questions section. So parents are going to ask a lot of questions before they send their kids away to camp. So if they could add an FAQ section, and the questions that they should include, they need to reach out to their sales and their camp instructors that are actually getting those questions from parents, and the sales folks that are maybe taking those phone calls. That'd be a really great way to get some ideas for what questions should be there. All right, so moving on to the last one is reduce distractions. So the question here is, are there elements on the page that could distract visitors away from your primary goal? So the primary goal here in this case is, of course, to register now. Now, because they are running ads and sending them to a landing page, your landing page should not have any type of navigation, really any navigation that goes anywhere off-site or to a different page, because we want to drive them to one specific action, and that's to register now. And that's definitely a big thing that would help increase conversions. And even, maybe one idea would be to, with this flash sale, maybe actually instead of having just kind of the general one, maybe, they could have it for a specific expedition, so they could actually drive to that specific landing page that includes the details. But, really most importantly, they really need to remove any type of navigation links or things that are going to take them away, from registering now. And then the last thing here you also want to make sure that you're minimizing any non-essential information. So as I go back over here to the landing page, we can see that they have a filter option here on the left, filter available camps. So it's got grade, location, activity. Those things are actually called out immediately right here on these little, what I'll call camp cards. So this could definitely be taken away. It is distracting. It does have this, this kind of like high contrast, kind of burnt orange color. And that really should be reserved for their primary call to action. So this could be taken away because they've only got 4 options. It's not like there's hundreds of options to wade through. So that could definitely be removed and taken away as well. All right, so that was just a kind of a quick high-level overview of what you can expect from these conversion growth audits. As I mentioned, the report will go into much more detail with specifics and actionable next steps. Everything is categorized in high, medium to low. So what are the things to work on now, and what are the things that that could wait until later down the road. So hopefully that's given you a really good example of what you can expect with these. And if you have any more questions, just feel free to reach out to me. More than happy to answer any questions. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.